What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? So, look, this is not a review of the tell all because I did not review 90 Day Fiance The Last Resort Season 2. I watched it, but I didn't review it because all of these people, to me, I just don't have it in me. I don't have it in me. I think a lot of it is so fake. And I think a lot of these people are here just for attention. So, y'all, I couldn't do it. The other reality TV shows that I review, they're not that much better. But with The Last Resort and the people that are on The Last Resort, to me, they're just extremely fame hungry. There's not the reality or the sincerity of their relationships, it does not come across on camera as far as I'm concerned, because they'll have these arguments, they'll say these horrible things to each other, but then you come to the tell all of them are still sleeping together. So it's like, what the hell is going on? But before I get into any of that, let's talk about the main event, which was Jasmine, Gino, and Rob. So Jasmine comes on stage very much pregnant, doesn't want to say when her baby is due, because I think her excuse was, in my culture, we don't talk about that. And that, I know that to be true, that in some cultures, pregnancies are just not a topic of conversation. It's very personal, it's very private. You don't talk about, a lot of cultures, you're not even supposed to show that you're pregnant when you are pregnant. So, okay, I'll give her that. But I think the real reason why she didn't want to talk about the due date is because people will probably start doing their calculations and figure out that she might have been pregnant around the time where she was trying to make it seem as if her and what's her boyfriend's name? Matt. That her and Matt were not intimate. I think that when you put two and two together, you can possibly conclude that Jasmine and Matt were probably intimate with one another during the time that she was begging Gino to have an open marriage, where she made it seem like, her and Matt were just friends, and he could do for her what Gino couldn't do. And she was just waiting for Gino to give the green light, just to give his permission to allow her to be with Matt. But at that time, obviously, to me, I think it was kind of obvious that her and Matt were already smashing. It was already happening. It was already going on. And I believe a lot. I think Rob was very much on point with him saying that her wanting an open marriage from Gino was just to justify or to excuse her behavior of already being with Matt. It really wasn't about the theory of open marriages or the theory of polyamory. She wasn't really trying to live that lifestyle. She's just trying to cover all of her bases. So if it ever did come out that she was already sleeping with Matt way before she brought up open marriage to Gino, her bases would be covered. Her excuse would be, well, Gino allowed this. Gino was willing to do an open marriage, just basically to already have a justification of why she was, being intimate with Matt. So I believe Rob on that. I think Rob was right on the nose with that. By the time she came to Gino about, hey, can we do this open marriage thing? It was already in the works. Her and Matt were already deep in it. Um, so she comes on stage. She's, obviously pregnant, doesn't want to talk about the due date. And Rob went a little bit too hard. He went a lot hard on Jasmine. Both Jasmine and Rob, to me, were very much out of pocket with both of their behavior, very much out of pocket. Number one, even though I agree with a lot about what Rob was saying, as far as, Jasmine trying to pull the wool over Gino's eyes so that she can do her thing with Matt under the guise of an open marriage. What he said was right. His delivery was all wrong. He was just a little bit too aggressive and a little bit too invested. Everybody on stage, for the most part, probably did not agree with Jasmine becoming pregnant by Matt after she made such a big deal about having this open marriage and wanting Gino's permission and promising Gino that she was going to, make sure that they practice safe sex, and that she, as long as, you caught feelings, she was going to break it off. All those promises that she made to Gino as part of their agreement for the open marriage went to the wayside, because obviously I'm pretty sure she did catch feelings with Matt. When you look at the maternity photos that she has posted on her social media, it looks like a couple that's happy happily expecting their first child together. They don't look like just friends with benefits or people who are in this contractual agreement just to have sex and nothing else. They look like an actual couple. So Rob's delivery was wrong, and I'm pretty sure everybody on that stage agreed that her becoming pregnant, it was a little bit like unexpected and like, what is going on? I thought you were just in this for sex because your husband isn't giving it to you. You wanted to get it from somewhere else, and he gave you the permission with boundaries and certain perimeters that you had to follow. Like, what is going on, Jasmine? But nobody else was as heated and passionate about it as Rob. They all felt the same, but everybody stayed in their lane about it. You can, like, Sean Robinson had said, you can express your ideas and your opinions. You can agree to disagree. You don't have to like go all out like this. And Rob went all out. I'm not exactly sure what is it about Jasmine that triggers Rob so much. This is not your woman. You have your own problems with Sophie. Gino will not cape for you the way you cape for him. So where is all of this aggression coming from towards this woman? Him calling her a whore was out of pocket, uncalled for, unnecessary, and disrespectful. No matter how you feel about her, first of all, what is she doing that is whorish? Like, what is she doing? Her husband gave her permission to sleep with another man. This is something that her and her husband had discussed, and it was just this one other guy, Matt. It wasn't the whole entire state of Michigan. It was just this one guy, Matt, which her husband had given her permission to be with. So what is whorish about Jasmine? So him calling her a whore was completely out of pocket. The way that he doubled down on it was really out of pocket, and imitating her accent, that was just very rude, very immature. And her allowing Rob to get under her skin. Now, maybe, we can say, well, pregnancy hormones, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like even if she wasn't pregnant, it would have been the same Jasmine. Her throwing her shoe at him was wrong. Allowing him to get at her like that was wrong. If she would have sat and kept it cool, calm, and collected and let him act all crazy and unhinged, then, she would have helped her case a whole lot better. But the fact that she was reacting so strongly to what he was saying, it's almost as if, he punched, he what's the word? Like he struck a nerve with her. Like she knows that what he's saying is truthful, that she was just trying to manipulate Gino into basically allowing her to have an affair. Now, he went way overboard with the name calling, the yelling, the screaming, the cussing out. His emotions were so out of control. His temper was so out of control. It was like, okay, Rob, this is a pregnant woman that you're allowing to get you riled up like this. And the way that he wanted to square up with her and go toe to toe with her, it was like, wow, Rob, what is going on? And then throwing her shoe over the building outside, like, no. Anyway, now, okay, so now let's move over to Jasmine herself. She is definitely using Gino and manipulating Gino. Now, Gino trying to act like, he was like in complete agreement with Rob's behavior and he was okay with Rob calling her all of those horrible names. That was tacky. That was tacky as hell. Gino, where's your spine? Where's your backbone? Everything Jasmine wants, you give it to her. But then when other people call her out on that, all of a sudden you're patting them on the back and you're like, thank you, bro. That's it. You tell her, bro. Like, where's your voice? So I do believe 1,000% that when I say that she was using him, I mean that in every sense of the word, that Jasmine was using Gino. This relationship has never made sense to anybody. And sometimes you just have to call a thing a thing. The fact that Jasmine wants to profess all of this love to Gino and act like, she's just, doing her best to be the good wife and he's just not doing the right thing as a husband. He's not fulfilling her needs. He's like this, really horrible husband and she's suffering so much in this marriage and she just wants her own happiness. Then why don't you leave? Why don't you divorce him? There's something is making her stay with Gino. I don't know if it's for monetary reasons. I don't know if it's for immigration reasons. I don't know if it's for show business reasons. Like her and Gino are better together when it comes to this reality TV show business than they are apart. So I don't know exactly what it is, but I don't think that Jasmine's feelings for Gino are genuine. I think that maybe at some point Gino did have genuine feelings for Jasmine, but from the time that I first started watching this couple, from the very, very beginning, this entire relationship never made sense to me. Like Jasmine, I always used to think, Jasmine, you are, so pretty, you're educated, you're smart. Like, what are you doing with someone like this who is so goofy and he doesn't take anything seriously? Like, what are you doing with this man, Jasmine? But whatever, this is the man that she chose to be with. But I never truly believed that these people were a good match for each other. Never. And like I said, I don't know what's keeping her with him. I can sort of understand what's keeping him with her. Maybe Gino thinks, he won't be able to get a woman as attractive as Jasmine. She is attractive. She is, there's a lot about her that's attractive, other than her looks. There's a lot about Jasmine that I think is attractive, that men will find attractive. Her personality, her sense of humor. She's intelligent. Maybe all of that is what's keeping him with her. Like, I really don't get it, but maybe that's what's keeping him with her. I just don't understand what's keeping her with him. I think that um I think that if Gino continues to stay with Jasmine, she will continue to make a fool out of him. This is probably just baby number one between her and Matt. Okay, this is probably just the beginning. And I don't understand why these two people do not divorce each other. The people who are saying that Jasmine has the right to move on with her life because Gino wasn't treating her right, Gino wasn't giving her what she wanted, what she needed. This was not a fulfilling marriage for Jasmine. So what's wrong with her moving on and getting pregnant by her boyfriend and starting a... There's nothing wrong with Jasmine moving on and getting pregnant by Matt. But why are you still sticking to Gino? Why are you still holding on to Gino? If you want to move on, then move on. Leave Gino, divorce him, do whatever you got to do, and then move on to your next thing. Why are you forcing this man to stay in this marriage with you? Neither one of you are happy. You're wanting him to accept the fact that you want to sleep with another man. And then when he's acting the way he acts, you're like confused. Like, why are you so mean to me? But maybe because you keep on throwing in his face that you want to be with other people, that you want to sleep with other men. Way before she ever brought up Matt, way before she ever brought up, open marriages, um, she talked about how he doesn't want to sleep with me. He's rejected me. And people think that's enough an excuse for her to do what she's doing with Matt. I don't think so. I think that if you're not getting what you need from your spouse and it's this bad and it's this horrible, get a divorce or separate. Separate, get your own place, do your own thing. I don't know how immigration factors into him being financially responsible for her. I don't know where they're at in the immigration process. If they got a divorce, would this mess up things for her as far as trying to become a citizen in this country? I don't know any of that, the legalities of their immigration process. But all I can say is, if this man was not giving you what you wanted, then why didn't you leave him? Everybody talks about, oh, Gina was so horrible to Jasmine. She could have just left him. He could have left her. Y'all should have just left each other. Okay. What else do I have to cover? Now, this is something else. This is sort of like a side note. Sophie, you and Rob on the day of the ceremony, on commitment ceremony day, which I really wasn't paying too much. I think I fast forward through the majority of that episode. Um, Sophie and Rob, this is a very horrible, toxic relationship. When I was reviewing 90 Day Fiance, um, when they were on it, I'd said from the beginning, this relationship is not a good one. This is not a good relationship. Sophie, you constantly complain about Rob and his online cheating and he's whatever you're finding on his phone and you got all of these screenshots to prove that he's not faithful. Then why do you keep going back to him? Then why do you keep going back to him? And the reason why I'm putting the onus on Sophie and not Rob is because Rob wanted this to work more than she did. Um, Rob has his issues. He's got his problems. I don't know if he's online cheating or not, but Rob definitely has his problems. But he wanted this to work more than she did. I felt like he was more hurt and affected by their relationship than she was. She was always very flippant about his feelings, about what they were going through. To her, it was almost like it just really wasn't a big deal to her. It wasn't that much of a priority for her. Then you had her mom yapping in her ear all the time about Rob the knob and, Rob isn't good for her and she needs to move on. And so it just really confuses me, like why she keeps going back to him. If it's just like a sexual thing, then just admit to each other, hey, we're not good as a married couple, but we still want to hit it with each other, now and then, and that's just how it is. Just admit that. Stop pretending that y'all are trying to make this work, that y'all see something in the other. You see some potential in the other, and there's a possibility that y'all could possibly work out. Stop with the game playing. If it's just about sex, then keep it just about sex. That's cool. That's fine. Until you move on to other people. I don't want to hear Sophie ever talk about online cheating again. You talk about online cheating, and then you go back and you sleep with him. Like after the commitment ceremony, you go back and you sleep with him. After you made a decision to not be with him or whatever the hell, I don't even know who decided what. But after all of that, you go back and you sleep with him. That's just really tacky. Moving on from there, Julia and Brandon. Okay, Brandon, you found this girl in a nightclub go-go dancing. Okay, now you're upset that she still wants to dance and show out and shake her butt in front of everybody. You're confused and surprised on why she's doing this. I don't get it. I don't understand. This is where you found her. It's like meeting a girl in the library and then getting upset that she wants to read so much, or meeting a girl at church and getting upset that she wants to go to church every Sunday, that she's religious. You met her in a club go-go dancing. That was her profession. She wasn't there just to have a good time. That was her profession. Her chosen profession was to be a dancer at these nightclubs, and that is still in her. It is in her blood, and you're confused on why she still wants to do this. It just boggles my mind that men will meet these women like in nightclubs, the girls who want to go drinking and partying every weekend, and then when you marry them, you want them to all of a sudden become Susie Homemaker. No, absolutely not. Now, some may say that when Julia decided to get married and be a wife, that she should have changed her ways, but she wasn't the one pursuing Brandon. Brandon was pursuing her. So Brandon has to adjust himself to her lifestyle, not the other way around. So that's what I gotta say about Julia and Brandon. And the parents, like his mother saying, and therein lies the problem, and therein lies the problem. When Julia didn't think that she did anything wrong, why would she think the guy met her in the nightclub? She was shaking her butt, shaking her booty. He wifed her up, and now he's like confused on why she still wants to shake her booty. Like therein lies the problem, Brandon's mom, of why you don't get it. What does she have to apologize for? And then him calling her a whore, that was really awful. Brandon, how dare you? This is your wife. Okay, this is your wife. This is the woman that you chose to marry. And you're calling her a whore because you said that she was, dressed provocatively. Her private parts were showing. Her boobs were hanging out. She's slithering all over the bar, making a spectacle of herself. You're putting 20 on 10. If you're talking about what we saw during the season, she was on the bar. She was dancing. She was having a good time. She's on a television show. I'm pretty sure she wants to kind of show out a little bit for the cameras. Come on. Really. You took this girl from the nightclubs of Russia or wherever she's from, and you put her on a farm, and you want her just to, toe the field and feed chickens all day and milk the cows. That doesn't make any sense. If that's what you wanted, Brandon, you should have married a girl from Wisconsin, a farm girl or whatever. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Jasmine and Gino and Rob, out of control. Gino, you look like a damn fool, patting Rob on the back, encouraging him and congratulating him for calling out the woman that you cannot seem to leave. For him, basically, being aggressive to the woman that you're choosing to stay with. Like, what? You're congratulating him. You go, Rob. That's it, Rob. That's what I'm talking about. He's attacking the woman that you're choosing to still stay with. At least you were on the last episode of, The Last Resort. At least you were there. I don't know what's going on now, but at least you were at that time. It is sort of ironic in a way that, Gina wanted a child so bad, and Jasmine ends up having a baby with somebody else. He wanted a child so bad, and now she's pregnant by somebody else. And Jasmine, I have a question for you. You're here having these new babies in America, but what about your children in Panama? Like, what is the status on that? Can you give us you don't want to give us a due date, but can you give us a date on when your kids are going to come and live with you for you to be able to take care of them and mother them? I don't know. Anyway, that's my little 2 cents of the tell all part 1. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you do enjoy this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.